Welcome to our channel. My wife and I have had the idea, the vision for a couple of years. When we got our house, we would have a coffee bar.
Yes.
So we bought our house about 8 months ago. A month after we moved in, I had an electrician come here and put in a couple outlets. He had to start over here and then cut a hole where all the studs are to run the wiring and put the outlets in. Fill the holes in, we painted the area back, and now we have obtained a floating shelf to put about here, and that will complete our coffee bar after my wife decorates.
Thank you, Apple.
So I want to show you the tools I'll be using to do this job. I have a drill with a Phillips screw and attachment, tape measure. I've got a stud finder, just a really simple one. Pencil to mark where we're going to be connecting the boards to the wall. And then I have my package here with the shelf and screws in it. So just real quick, we're gonna open that up and show what we're gonna do. As you can see, the shelf is hollow in the back. These are just to support the shelf while it's being assembled so it doesn't fold in on itself. We'll be taking these off and then taking this board, placing it in here. We'll be screwing the shelf to the board. So one last thing, we'll get a hammer and we'll lift these off here. So I'm just gonna gently tap on these from the inside and knock these little boards up, these little supports out. So we had these supports on here, took those off, just gently knocked them off with a hammer. I wanted to show you this hollow on the inside. So what we'll be doing is taking this board and it will be fitting inside here, like so. And then this will be secured to the wall. Then we'll secure the shelf to this board. So this board is 1.5 inches by 1 3/4 inches. What we're going to do is be putting it on the wall and then securing the shelf to that. We have these screws. And anytime you have anything heavy, you don't want to connect it directly. You don't want to hang it on the drywall. You want to connect it to the boards behind the drywall, which are called studs. This is called a stud finder. And then all your walls that have drywall are going to have 2x4s behind it that the drywall is connected to. So depending on the age of your house, they are different widths from each other. You can find it out and count off from the end of your wall, or you can take your stud finder because you want to be precise. And you don't want to be drilling in your drywall and having to go back and fix that. So how these work is not a simple one, it's more complex, but they all work relatively the same way. Put it up to the wall, press the button. This says edge, but we're gonna move it across. And you see that beep? That is the board or the stud that we wanna connect it to. So what I do is kind of go over, get an idea how wide it is, try to find the middle, and I'll just mark a little pencil mark, and we'll go all the way down the wall. And we're marking, that board's about, again, 2x4, so 2 inches. So we're marking in the middle of that, where that board is. And then I'm gonna take my tape measure. I put a couple things up in this house and I've leveled them off according to like a bubble level, but then when I put it up, it's not level with the floor. So what I'm gonna do here is find our countertop, and I'm gonna mark off a distance, let's say 2.5 feet from the countertop to the stud. And then I'm going to take my tape measure and mark off that line. As I explained, this board is 1 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch. I just double checked the slot on the back of the shelf is 1.5 inch. So we want to put the board on the wall with the 1.5 inch side that the shelf's going to fit into. I've taken where I've marked, and then the top of, my wife isn't as tall as I am. So we're going to put the top of the board along where that line is, and that'll be covered up by the shelf. So you shouldn't have to go back and fix that. I will take a regular pencil eraser and erase those marks afterward. So I'll get my drill. I have these screws, and they should give us about a little over 1 inch into the stud. So that should be fine to hold up the shelf. I got 4 of them. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna put the board up to the wall, and I'm gonna mark on the board where the screws are going to go. That way we can start the screws before we put the board up on the wall. So when I mean start them, I mean find the middle, get your screw. So I don't know if you could tell, but that was a little bit of a struggle. Ideally, this would be going on in pieces, and you put this up before you put this up. I didn't want to do that, so we worked it on there. I'll take these screws. I'm gonna go from the top because just you won't be able to see them. And I'll connect this to that board that was back there. These screws were 3 1/4 inch long, so I went back and took those all out because it's a little wobbly and put 4 inch screws in, so that's holding it much better.
Y así, poco a poco, todo va tomando forma. Gracias por seguir aquí con nosotros. Esto es solo el comienzo. No te pierdas la segunda parte.